a grandmother.
Women in leadership, business, and lifestyle.
I know I do. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. Welcome to another segment of the Lifin channel. And I'm so excited to have my friend and my collaborator, Dr. Rose White, joining me. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I thought today that we would talk about a powerful topic, which we all have experience in one way or the other, but it's about rebuilding after your storm and finding your identity after an experience of life that you have gone through. And that could be anything from you dealt with a divorce, to illness in the family, to a loss of a loved one, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So today's segment is going to be powerful because it's going to be more of a Q&A format, and I think that you're really going to get some powerful nuggets out of this. And so, Dr. Rose, I'd like to start with the question. Obviously, we're talking about acknowledging, a personal storm. So, you want to share one storm that you've been through?
Oh, I've been through so many storms. But I would think one major storm, of course, for me has been dealing with 3 dynamic losses pretty much back to back that have been major. From an only parent that I've known, to a year after an only sibling that was my best friend, and then right after that, an only child. And so the losses of those 3 individuals were major storms that I've had to come through, and I'm still here and surviving. And when it comes to getting through losses or challenges, talking about an emotional weight, it absolutely was. And those were things that could have literally caused me to lose my mind. But
Yes.
I would say by the grace of God, I've been able to not allow it to consume me, which it could have. But I find that when I began to focus on others rather than on myself, it is what has helped me to survive and continue to move forward.
So for anybody out there, what were some key steps that you took to kind of pick up some of the pieces in your life after that devastating loss?
Getting my mind off of me and focusing on someone else that's going through same or similar situation. That is what has helped me the biggest, because I believe that what I make happen for others, I believe God make happen for me. And I needed to be able to get beyond and get over the grief, because, dealing with that was so unbelievable. But my thing that helped me the most was focusing on other people's hurts, focusing on helping them to get through their moments of crises. And as I focused on helping them to overcome, it helped me to become an overcomer.
So from a life coach, since you have gone to that place, you have been there, what would you say to a client that has come to you, and they're grieving? And so, maybe the comment would be, Dr. Rose, I seem to repeat the pain, repeat the thoughts. And also, I know personally there has been clients that have come and comment, what could I have done? What would you say to that?
Well, looking from the perspective of one of those areas, because I do have people that come to me that have gone through divorce. I myself am a divorcee, not one time, a couple times. And so we often second guess ourselves. You lose family members, you lose children. What could I have done differently? And so for people that ask that particular question, it's a matter of bringing comfort in reminding them of the things, allow them to think on what were the good moments, what were the good times, what are the things that you remember that are positive. And to think about those particular things, bring that out. Because sometimes we tend to ponder on what we didn't do and we forget about the things that we did do.
Yes.
So when you can begin to look at that, then it'll help you get beyond the pain of the things that perhaps you didn't do. Because even still, our good still will always outweigh the bad. And none of us, I have to always encourage people that ask that, but none of us have been perfect at anything.
So true.
None of us have been great in things, in everything. All of us have had some bloopers and, have had some shortcomings. And sometimes we need to point that out. And I have to point that out because sometimes people will look at themselves being the worst thing. They were not a good sister or a good daughter or a good mother or a good father. But at the end of the day, none of us have been our utmost best. We've all had some issues that needs to be improved. So we have to focus on, and my job as a life coach is to help people to begin to focus on the things that you did that was great. To pull that out, because you may not think about that, especially when you're hurting. If you've just gone through a divorce, the first thing you think, perhaps I was not a good husband. Maybe I wasn't a good wife. Maybe had I done this different, had I cooked his meal, the way that he liked, perhaps if I had done that, I had been over there. Had I been somebody else? So my thing is helping to point out the things that you did that was great, that was good, because we forget about that.
And that you said it all. And I would say also too, what I got out of what Dr. Rose was saying is, and I would pass that along to my clients, focus on the experience, take out all of the positive, the lovely things, and put your energy on refocusing towards, the future today and start from today. And the pain, it takes time because there's no magic remedy. Is there, Dr. Rose?
It's not. It's not. When it comes to even healing takes time.
Yes.
Like a physical, when you cut yourself and you injure yourself, you have surgery or procedure. It's a process. It takes time to get to that full recovery period. Where it's the same when it comes to, a broken promise, the loss of a loved one, a divorce. And divorce is something that is massive. It is major.
Yes.
A divorce is a cutting away. And so when you have gone through hurts, it's a process to get that healing that you need. And the healing begins the moment you can forgive yourself. The moment you can let go of yesterday. And as Liz says, to think on the things that are good. There's a scripture that says, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of a good report, if it has virtue, think on these things. And that's what can be such a help during those times.
Yeah, and we're all in constant movement, so we have to move. So it's about also moving from survival mode to somewhat of a stability. And so that takes time. And so for every individual, it takes time. It's not a one cookie cutter approach at all. And so what I would ask you in that transition from moving to survival mode to stability, or the beginning of stability, how did you manage your daily living in the sense of overwhelmed, being overwhelmed? Because so oftentimes what's happening in the world, there's so many overwhelming things happening all at once, just life, different situations. But when you're in that situation, how do you deal with overwhelm?
And overwhelm is something that we all sometimes face. There have been times, I remember specifically right after my son passed, and then I also remember after when I had my divorce, I was overwhelmed with the guilt. I was overwhelmed with feeling such a failure. I was overwhelmed with still needing to continue to operate what I was doing, because not only being a life coach, being a consultant, but also being a ministry leader and having to constantly still take care of my responsibility. And I was overwhelmed. And so I had to take a moment. There comes a time when you've got to just stop. You got to do some self-care. Here is where you got to stop everything. You got to be still. You got to look inward. Do a self-assessment. Michael Jackson had a song that says, looking at the man in the mirror. And there comes a time when we've got to look at that person in the mirror and deal with what we're dealing with. Get beyond that. Have a time to just rest our mind, to remove the guilt and to say, you know what? This is what has taken place. I've now got to move on. I've got to be able to continue to survive. What is it that I can do next? What is it that I should be doing? Okay, yesterday is gone. That relationship is over. I've lost the love of my life. I can't turn back the hands of time. And so when you get to that place when you can say, okay, this is it. There's some new things I've got to start doing. And you begin to realize you can build again. You can start again. And a woman that have gone through divorces, I spoke into my own life. And I said, I can even love again. Didn't allow the divorces to make me bitter, but to allow them to make me better. A better female, a better woman, to become a better wife the next time around. And so oftentimes we get so overwhelmed with the losses that we don't allow it to make us to become a better person, a better individual. Sometimes it makes us angry, and then we're not good for anyone, even for ourselves. So my being overwhelmed with those feelings made me have to take a pause, sit down, be still, be quiet, evaluate. And as Liz oftentimes talks about doing some assessments, I had to do an assessment of me and realize that if I continue, the old saying, if you continue to do a thing the same way and you expect a different return, that's insanity. That's madness. And so I realized there are some things I want to do differently this time around, especially when it continues to be a cycle. I've had to come out from that feeling overwhelmed, it's like I keep repeating the same old crazies over and over. I keep having this loss. I keep having that. But we get to that place, we just need to be still. Look inward. Take a deep breath and then exhale.
So in this period, kind of getting through and being, in survival mode. Then comes brighter times.
Yeah.
So re-identifying yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's solo.
Yeah.
Sometimes, it is in the situation that you're in. It could be a variety of things. But how did you redefine your identity from that experiences?
Through my connections. The people that I surrounded myself with. Let me just say that the time when you go through your period of overwhelm, and especially, I'm going to speak specifically to those that have gone through divorce. And I'm going to speak to those that are in leadership and especially those that are in ministry. Because oftentimes you become overwhelmed with criticism. You will become overwhelmed by people misjudging you. You will become overwhelmed with false accusations. And so making sure that you got right connections, that you are being surrounded by people that are positive, and that's where I had to be, around people that did not look upon me to judge me, but people that was around me to help build me up. Those areas where I was being beat down, torn, I had to find myself surrounded by, because, I a lot of times have a tendency of walking alone anyway. But when you are going through a period of overwhelm because of loss, you have to be careful about stealing away or be alone, because now depression will come in. And that state of depression will keep you from moving forward. That isolation, if you're not careful, it can carry you down rather than bring you up. So when you are down, now you've got to surround yourself with people that are high, people that are up, people that are going to help bring you up.
And that's so powerful, Dr. Rose, because you mentioned community.
Yeah.
And you should never be alone. There's always somebody that is within reach to you. So sometimes we think we're in silos and that we're alone, but you're really never alone. Sure. There's a lot of different resources out there. Even if you don't have any family, any friends, maybe you're in a new town, you don't know anybody, you can always reach out. And so the key is community and moving forward, because we have to move forward. And so the last closing question is, would you say that you saw possibility again? Yeah. What did that look like for you in your experience?
Possibility in my experience gave me an opportunity of marrying again. The possibility of having that right relationship, but knowing that everything that I've experienced, now look at the things that I really want to have. I love laughter. And so I saw the possibility of being able to laugh again, to be able to have life again, to be able to experience new things again. And that helped me to begin to now move forward. Everything is about expectation. What are you expecting in life? I had to expect that life is going to be better. I make my own decisions. You create your own atmosphere. And I had to do that for me. Because if not, however it is, some of you, especially those of you that are divorced, maybe it's not to remarry. Maybe this is now the time that you just enjoy you. Maybe it's the time that you just enjoy traveling, going to see something new, see a new world. For someone that has lost a loved one, maybe now this is a time for you to embrace others. For me to lose my only child, it gave me more of a compassion now to love the children, to love those that don't have a family, to be able to embrace them, that even adults can feel like they're orphans. And so to become that individual, it gave me a whole nother perspective, and especially when this most recent loss, the loss of my only child. it gave me another look on life, a different perspective. That it's about now me focusing on someone else that perhaps don't have a child, or even if they have a child, they are distant. They are at a place where they're not together. They're there, but they're not there. It's as if there has already been a loss. And so my focus now is, what can I do? I have a whole nother perspective today.
Thank you, Dr. Rose, for sharing. And I think personally, we could talk about, many things, and we could probably go on for quite a while, many hours actually. But one perspective that really launched me to really dig deeper, love more, appreciate more was about 5 years ago. I have four sisters. We're five total, not five sisters, but we're five. And so my youngest sister had a near life experience where we almost lost her. And she was in the hospital, and they had put her in under, so she was not really given a good prognosis to make it. And so, we're extremely close, and I thought, what, not only is she my sister, she's one of my very dear friends because we're very, very close. And that was a aha moment. I couldn't even get it out because it really made me appreciate all the beautiful times that we have had, and the adventures, the laughs, the cries, the life events. But it made me realize that all we really have is today, Dr. Rose, and that we need to make the most of today in the now.
Right.
And I think that it made me come out a stronger person, stronger for gratitude, stronger in love, stronger for being compassionate for others that maybe don't have it all figured out. And it's okay, because we are always here to love and not to judge somebody else's circumstance, because you don't know what goes on behind those closed doors. So I want to encourage each and every one of you that are watching right now that maybe you are going through a storm. Know that, it is not the end. It maybe is the end of a thing. Maybe because of loss or a divorce. But it could be a beautiful beginning of gratitude, of better perspective, more understanding, more deep of just appreciating everything in your life. And so remembering that you're never alone, and where you are today doesn't mean that you're headed to there tomorrow. There's a brighter tomorrow. And so I hope this particular segment really fueled you and empowered you.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
As Liz was talking, emotionally this resonates with me. I want to just say to somebody, in every storm, if you look out, even in the natural, at the end of every storm, you'll look out and you'll see a rainbow. In life, we have storms.
Yes.
But storms don't last always. The rainbow, if we look out, is there to give us that hope that there's better that is coming. There is beauty even in the midst of the storm, that the sun comes out and shines again. And so I want you to be encouraged today. Storms are not permanent.
No.
Not at all.
I wish I could just, leave that take a lead and sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, but I think I'll spare you, Dr. Rose, and everybody watching. So I hope this really encouraged you today and that you took away some life coaching fuel, because this is what we're here to do, is inspire, motivate, empower, and just even if it's one thing, taking one step is the most important thing. And so if you like this conversation, I hope that you will subscribe, support this channel, help us to reach more people, and hit the like button and the notification bell, and share this channel. And these segments that we have done are always going to be there for you to come back to. And if you have any comments that you want to share, please do so. We'd love to hear your feedback. And stay tuned, because Dr. Rose and I will be coming on live in one of our upcoming Lifin Talks for just a Q&A from one life coach and the master life coach and answering your questions. So stay tuned for that. And I hope each and every one of you have a great day. So until next time, bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.